Before I got that job at the call center, I was actually working with the U.S. Army Reserve. I did 6 years there, and that sucked. The only reason I really bring it up to let you guys know that I had a military ID. It's a driver's license. It has my picture on it, has an expiration date on it, and that part would have been really good for me to have paid attention to and remembered the date of. Mine expired about 4 years into my 6-year contract. And I had to go up to Jacksonville, Naval Air Station in Jacksonville, to get it renewed, which at the time was about 2.5 hours away from where I lived. And I had to go up to NAS Jackson. On NAS Jax, they had a building that was exclusively for ID card renewal. They did not do anything else in this building except renew ID cards. I need you to know that for later. And I got on base, and I walked into the building, and I handed the ID to the guy at the desk, and he looked at it for about 3 seconds and just went, "Hey, man, this is expired." And I said, "Excellent work, detective. I can see why they've hired." Guy, that's like pulling up to a mechanic and the guy just going, "You know got a flat tire on your car?" "Yes, I do. You are truly doing the Lord's work at this Walmart tire center, aren't you, bud? You are crushing it." And I looked the guy in the face and I was like, "Yes, that is why I am here in the building exclusively for ID card renewal. You should know that. You work here." And he said, "Right, okay, well, I can't take a picture of you with facial hair. Do you have a razor on you?" And I patted my pockets as if that was just a thing people carried around. And I said, "No. I must have left that at home with the other things people leave at home." And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, what you can do is go across the street to the commissary. There you can buy some razors, and then you can come back, go in a bathroom, shave your face, take a picture, and be on your way." And I said, "That sounds like an unnecessary step." And he said, "Is this your first day in the Army?" And I said, "Fair point." So I went. I walked across the street to the commissary, and for those of you that don't know, a commissary is like a supermarket on base. And to shop there, you must be military personnel or family thereof, which means any given day, it's mostly just wives. Which means any given Tuesday, place is filled with retired strippers. You guys got it? Yeah, you're... Oh, what? What is it now? Future nurses? Is that the phrase? How is that worse? They're getting an education. I'm not the bad guy here. Meet someone in the military. They'll tell you I'm not wrong. Jeez, Lou. So I walked in the strip club, and I go to buy razors. As I'm checking out, I hand the guy at the register my ID and the razors, and he looks at my ID for a few seconds and just says, "Hey, man, this is expired." And I said, "That's not even your job." That's like trying to buy razors at a Walmart. The guy at the register just goes, "You know you got a flat tire on your car? Are you the same guy from the tire center? What is happening here?" I looked at him and I said, "Yeah, I know that. I actually went to the tire center earlier and he told me I couldn't take a picture of facial hair, so he sent me here to buy razors, which you know because you're holding them right now." And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, I can't sell you anything with an expired ID. So what you can do is leave base. Take a right. There's a super Target there. Then you can go into Target, buy some razors, and then you can come back, get on base, go in a bathroom, shave your face, take a picture, and be on your way." And I said, "That sounds like an unnecessary step." So I went. I left base, I took a right, I walked into Super Target. I bought razors at Target. Target didn't really care that my ID was expired, and I feel like that's worth mentioning right now. And as I'm coming back, I realized the amount of time it took me to go to Target, buy razors, and come back, they had replaced the person at the main gate with someone else who cared about their job just a little bit more than the previous person had. Because when I handed them my ID, he looked at it for about 3 seconds and just went, "Hey, man, "This is expired." And I said, "Ding, ding, ding, you are my 1 millionth customer! You win nothing!" And he said, "What?" And I said, "Never mind. I've already been on base today, man. I got on base, I went to the tire center. He said I couldn't take a picture of facial hair. He sent me to the strip club. Strip club said they couldn't sell me razor expired ID. He sent me to Target. Target didn't really care that my ID was expired, and I feel like that's worth mentioning right now. I just need to get on base." And he said, "I can't let you on base with an expired ID. So what you can do is go in this building over here and ask for a pass. They'll give you one. Then you can get on base, go in a bathroom, shave your face, take a picture, and be on your way." And I said, "Is that your motto? Ha ha, thank you." So I went. I walked into the building and I walked up to the guy behind the window and I slid him my ID under the window. Before I let go of it, I said, "Excuse me, sir. My ID is expired." "I already know that. I'm here to get it renewed." "Thank you." And he said, "Okay." And he looked down at my ID for a few seconds, and he looked up at me, and he kind of held it up and compared the two. Then he looked back down at the ID, and he said, "Hey, man, this is expired." The tire center. He said I couldn't take a picture of facial hair. He sent me to the strip club to buy razors. Strip club said they couldn't sell me razor expired ID. He sent me to Target. Target didn't really care that my ID was expired. I feel like that's worth mentioning right now. And I get back to the main gate. He said I couldn't get on base with expired ID. I told him I already went to the tire center, the strip club, and Target. Target was really nice to me. And he sent me here so I could get a pass, so I could get on base, so I could go in a bathroom, shave my face, take a picture, and be on my way. I have had a long day. Can you please help me? And he said, "Well, how do I know you're still in the Army if your ID's expired? Do you have your contract on you?" And I patted my pockets. And I said, "No, I must have left that at home with my razors!" And he said, "Well, then there's nothing I can do." And he slid my ID back under the window and he closed it and he stared at me like a nighttime 7-Eleven employee. So I left. That's the end of the story. I wish it ended differently too. I wish I could stand here right now and tell you I broke the window that day and forced that man to write me a pass so I could get on base, go in a bathroom, shave my face, take a picture, and be on my way. But that's not what happened that day. What happened that day is I left base, I went to a gas station parking lot, I ate an entire pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and I cried. So the moral of the story is, if you can do something small to help someone have a better day, you should. And if you get the chance, shop at Target.